And good morning. Please let me know over in the comments if you can hear me. And we're going to get started here in just a minute. First thing, today is September 11th, 2021. And as most of you know, 20 years ago was the 9/11 attacks on the United States. The first thing that we're going to do here this morning is we're going to take a minute. This is not going to get political, but I am going to take a minute we're going to have a moment of silence right here this morning. Uh, to remember all of the people um, that perished in that event, that gave their lives and things like that. So let's go ahead and we'll have our moment of silence real quick. All right. If you can hear me, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Looks like we lost some people during our moment of silence in remembering 9/11, and that's fine. Those people should go ahead and probably unsubscribe from the channel too. So, how is everybody doing this morning? Bring your questions. Unky Joe, I don't know if you were here. Unky Joe is in the house. Unky Joe, hope you made our moment of silence for remembering 9/11. So, and hope everybody's doing well this morning. All right. JH says he's annoyed on the Cisco lead times on the 9600s. Well, lead times for all kinds of equipment. So, funny story about that. And first, let me say hi to everybody. Morning, JH. I don't know if we lost TCP/IP Solutions, but was here for the first time. So if you're still here, good morning. If not, that's cool too. Good morning, Barry, Ressie, of course, Uncle Joe, Gabriel, Dave Robertson. Good morning. Morning, Renrick. Good morning, Sean. So funny story about lead times. So I think I told the story about how we were on back order for some Edge Router X's. And there's a huge, good morning, Gibby. There's a huge back order on Edge Router X's. Thousands, thousands are on back order. Anyway, I have a customer. Good morning, Michael. I have a customer who manages lotto machines in gas stations, grocery stores, things like that. And they use they were using Raspberry Pis. We moved them away from Raspberry Pi platform over to Edge Router X is using WireGuard. And um, we did a proof of concept. They had a lot of the groundwork laid. We had our meeting the other night, and he liked the solution so much he wanted to hurry up and buy a bunch of edge routers. Except normal priced edge router X's cannot be had. And I said, look, I can't feel good about you paying uh, a gouger's fee for these routers, and are they need to get this project done so quickly that they're willing to pay gougers prices. Now, edge routers are normally, 49.99. Morning, David Anderson. However, in the golden age of the gouger, we were on Amazon because he'd tried eBay. He bought 34 Edge Router X's at $144 a piece and 83 at $177 a piece. And I it was up to the customer. The customer needed them, but that's a lot of money for an Edge Router X. So At $177, you're $22 away from the MSRP of an Edge Router 4. However, we are doing a special configuration with the Edge Router X, and I didn't even know if it would work. And I told them straight up, I didn't know if this was going to work. And that configuration was the WAN port, the internet port. We actually swapped that around to be switch 0, right? And then they put a static IP on switch 0, but they're plugged into another modem, right? So you got to understand these lottery networks don't have dedicated you would think that like they would use like 4G or 5G modems on the lottery side and have everything dedicated and be no, that's not how a lot of these state lotteries work. They plug into a store's existing network and expect the management company to be able to keep this stuff secure. So uh, when they first send the router out, it will be DHCP on switch 0, which we have now set up to be the WAN port. And so you have logical switch 0, and then you have the physical ports 1 through 0 through 3 that are attributed to switch 0. You got to follow me on this because I don't have a diagram because I didn't even know if it was going to work. We proof of concepted and it worked, and they were very happy. So what we did was we switched the WAN to be switch 0. They send it out to the store. It gets an IP address automatically connects to WireGuard. So they know that the router's online. So then they use the WireGuard IP of that router to connect to the interface. And then they put a static IP from the store's um, from the store's LAN network on switch 0. Then any other provider who's in the store can plug into ports 2, 3, or 4 and get a DHCP address from the store or put a static on and do the same thing. Um, it's kind of a weird way of doing it, but it works. And then you've got ETH4, which is set up as a private network for out of band management and things like that. And then they've got some static routing that happens through the WireGuard to watch the drawers. So it's a very interesting setup. Unky Joe got gigabit internet a couple days ago. That's fantastic. Yeah, the Edge Router X is a fantastic router, especially at $49.99. At $177, I don't know. I don't know about that. Let's see. Yeah. Sylvain, hello. Good morning, Joe with Cajoling Tech. Joe made it. Gibby, they do not have a local failover for that. Brian, yes, that is correct. So everything else on the LAN side of the store is segmented away from the Lotto device. Yes, that is correct. Good morning, Bob Carpenter. That is correct. They are doing segmentation that way. Um, it's very interesting. I have never before configured switch 0 in an Edge Router X to actually be the internet. Um, the theory was good, but we never knew really what was going to happen until we applied the config. So what we did was I downloaded the config from the router. I manually edited the config, took the firewall rules off just to be, just in case, because we didn't know. I didn't know what really to expect. I knew the theory that it would work. Uploaded it. Everything worked perfectly. Reapplied the firewall rules. Proved that the firewall rules were working by not being able to connect to the router's interface over the WAN IP, only through the WireGuard or the LAN IP. So yeah. Morning, D-Bot. All right, over to the comments. Barry says in Pennsylvania they use LTE routers. That's interesting. See, the states are all seem to be a little bit different on their lottery management methods. Yeah, so WireGuard works fantastic. In fact, I think I'm going to do a video on WireGuard on the Edge router. Um, one thing that doesn't work really well is zero tier. I think it's broken. I can't even the one I'm messing with. I can't even get the interface to show up. So I might be doing something wrong, but I don't think so. And speaking of broken things, so if you follow me on Twitter, yesterday I made a post and I shouted out to Ubiquiti saying, "Hey, in the Cloud Key Gen 2, I have multi sites, but I can't import." And I had reached out to Riley Chase over at Hostify. He verified on his that I wasn't delusional and that we couldn't see the import site. Um, so if you have a Cloud Key Gen 2, or and I'll even tell you on the Cloud Key Gen 1, here's where the plot twist happens. Cloud Key Gen 1 import is there, does not work. So the software knows whether it's running on uh, a Cloud Key device. So it's very um, very interesting. And I have this customer who's basically stuck. So I had Tim look into the API last night. Hey Tim, can we do this import export if we write a page that interacts with the API? Doesn't look like we're going to be able to do it easily with the API. So now this customer is going to have to make a decision. Do they use a service like Hostify? Do they build a Linux box, migrate away from the Cloud Key? So the customer has a choice that they're going to have to make there. I also turned them on to TP Link because they are frustrated. We have a couple of VPNs to different from a police department and then from another company, and you can't set the options that you need in Unify in the UI. And so I SSH in. I created a script and manually set the options, and they know until they make a decision whether we're moving to a different device or what's happening. That if the USG gets provisioned or rebooted, they have to go back in, copy and paste it. That was actually their idea. My idea was to buy an edge router and replace the USG. Let's see here. All right. Bob Carpenter says, I hate gouging, but I had to replace my fridge. Needed the ice maker. Normally about 125 ish. Went to get it. They said maybe 6 to 9 months. Found it for $300. Had to pay, but I hate gouging. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Bob. Yeah, SB says Michigan uses direct TV satellite. Oof, what a slow way to manage your lottery machines. Brian says CGNAT kills zero tier in my experience. So in my experience, zero tier works through CGNAT, which is the advantage of zero tier and large MTUs. Um, but I can't get the interface to come up on the edge router. It installs, everything looks like it works, and I followed two different sets of directions, and I cannot get the interface to show up. Tailscale is actually what my Lotto client is moving away from on the Raspberry Pis. Unky Joe says he's having trouble getting PF sets to run at gigabit speed with AT&T router modem. Are you double natted, Unky Joe? I've noticed recently on a lot of the new AT&T installs that everything is double nat. Gary, Ireland. Gary from South Africa. I have an Edge Router X. It's tops. Watch your channel to learn more uses. Thanks, Gary. All right. Barry says, I switched to Ingenious Cloud. Very happy. Doing a Wi-Fi 6 project for a hotel. Been happy with them. So Ingenious is one of those interesting companies too. There's a lot of companies. I mean, there are so many bugs in the Unify software that have just dragged on for so long, but we keep coming out with new products. It feels like a cash grab. JH says, I really like the TP link for Wi-Fi. I haven't tried their switches. I always end up on the Adtran or Aruba switches for access. So their switches are pretty decent too. What I really like about the TP link stuff is you can join it to the controller or not. So you don't have to. Everything has a local standalone UI as well as being able to join it to the controller. And their switches, all their hardware actually has a limited lifetime warranty, which is still going to be longer than the 2 years that Ubiquiti gives if you buy directly from them. Good morning, Weibo. I can never remember how to pronounce your name. Sorry if I slaughtered that. All right, let's see. Unky Joe says that his Edge Router Lite gets around 750 to 800 megs. Yeah, the Edge Router Lite's a little long in the tooth. You should take that out and put it out of its misery. Kyle says Synology surveillance station with 72 cameras, one big NAS or two smaller ones. Which would you choose and why? Kyle, are all of the cameras at a single site? I did see that Arista Networks is moving out to WAN Edge. I also saw that Palo Alto now is offering home security appliances and small business security appliances starting at 300. If you pay, I think it's 349 a year for the home appliance, and it comes with the appliance. So I'm probably going to pre-order one of those and get my hands on it. Good morning, Tony with Quick Tech. Tony's in the house. Yeah, Unky Joe yeah, edge routers are simple, right? That's the beauty of the edge router. They're very simple. They do a few things pretty well, and we have to give Ubiquiti high five for that one because the edge routers do just work. The edge switches just work, and UNMS and UISP now is actually a far superior product to Unify, in my opinion. So I understand why they have not released actual APs. You've got the Air Cubes. Um, Which I guess, I mean, they are APs, right? But I mean, if they had an AP that was specifically, a line of APs that worked with UISP, no one would ever use Unify because it's slow. It's got outdated technology on the back end. I mean, why wait 5 minutes for an alert when UISP gives you an alert almost in real time? Good morning, Jeremy. Good morning, admin Paulo. Morning. Dbot says, anybody have any update on the Unify security camera supply backlog? No, you are waiting in line with everybody. Everybody. Joe from Cajoling Tech asks, have you found Unify controller on Raspberry Pi is stable enough for production? I would never install it in a business. For home, yeah, probably. So yeah, the Palo Alto for home product. Let's see here. Palo Alto work from home. And it comes with a Wi-Fi 6 AP. Let's see if I can find it because it's got a different name. It's by Palo Alto. I just happen to be like, when you open a new Chrome tab or you open a new Chrome window on your phone and it like shows you the news stories. Let me see if I can find it. See if it's still here. Well, you know what? I bet I can go to my history because I read the article. Let's see. I'm just scrolling here real quick though to see if it's still. I think these do roll frequently. Oh, well, there's an article from last night. Let's see. Yeah, I need to get it fixed so I can share my screen with you. I literally just have not taken the time to. Let me see if I can go to my history here. I literally have not taken the time to fix OBS yet. So let's see. Oh, it's okyo.com. I will put a link in. There's a link in the chat. So see if I can get this. So that's what the device is going to look like for the home. It's got a familiar look, except it's got a company who really probably isn't going to release it with broken features. So I'm thinking about pre-ordering that and seeing what it's $349 a year. It's $29.08 a month if it's billed annually. So it's got malware prevention, ransomware prevention, phishing prevention, device security, prevents remote attacks, suspicious online activity monitoring, fast Wi-Fi 6 performance and coverage, and that is up to 30 devices. So that's going to work for the majority of homes. You can go to a plus device for $399. You get all of that other stuff. You get support for 100 devices, and you get advanced parental controls. And the advanced parental controls, it says ability to create user profiles, schedule pausing internet usage for devices or users, block undesirable content, limit time on social media and gaming, and create alerts for objectionable user activity. And then you can go to the 449 a year that has all of that, has ad blocking, supports unlimited devices, and then has their concierge service. So the concierge service covers on-site installation and premium ongoing support. Direct phone number to help resolve any technical issues and follow-up visits as needed. First year of service free for pre-orders placed by 9:30. Service auto renews at $99 a year unless canceled. So Palo Alto is stepping into the arena. Palo Alto has now entered the chat. Uh, Palo Alto could crush most of the vendors in this space just from the fact that you're going to get actual tech support, you know? So it's interesting. I think I'm going to order one and see what happens. Um, yeah, JH, I think that the Palo Alto is definitely going to take some market share. Um, We'll see. Nick says, "How is the TP Link Omada versus Unify? I'm tired of the Unify bugs. TP, I've got MSPs that I work with that are rolling TP Link out like it's going out of style, and they love it. They never have to touch it. They don't have firmware bugs. So what they use it for, they put it in when it's appropriate, and it works fantastically. Yeah, Grandstream APs, which by the way, they are. You will see in 2021." You will see a 4x4 Wi-Fi 6 AP from them that will have a 2.5 gig port and a gigabit port. And um, they have a revamp of their GWN 7000 coming. Now, whether that's going to be firmware or whether it's going to be a whole new device, I don't know. They also have switches coming, so they are soon going to have the whole stack. It's going to be fantastic. But right now, their APs are absolutely just solid, and they're fast, and it's fantastic. Unky Joe says the last speed test was 910 megabits down, 2 millisecond ping, 4 millisecond ping loaded, 660 megs up. And what device was that with, Unky Joe? Good morning, Jim from California. So, Jim, you're just joining us. We were just talking about how Palo Alto is getting into the small business and home uh, network device. So it'll be interesting. Miss Call, good morning. So I hope everybody is having a good morning. Let's see, back up to and JH says the magic words on your ISP are up to. Unky Joe, if you just plug a computer in directly to the AT&T equipment, do you get full gig from your laptop? Brent, good morning. So I thought something was interesting yesterday. Somebody pinged me, and you know that I am a huge fan of Protectly, and I use the Protectly devices, and I've done some and I've got videos to do. Yes, I have a backlog of videos. So vendors, if you're watching, yes, life gets in the way. Life gets crazy. I'm not a full-time content creator. So I have to get through my backlog, which I'm working on slowly but surely. But working with Protectly, they never offered an affiliate code where I could make money from the hardware. The only time that I made money on um, the hardware is if you bought it and then you paid me to configure it. And I even took most of that out by creating a configuration file, sending it over to Protectly, and you could request the Willie House special. Then somebody pinged me yesterday and said that Network Chuck, which I don't watch Network Chuck. I know who he is. Had an affiliate link for Protectly, and I'll be darned if he didn't have an affiliate link for Protectly. So I fired off an email to the CEO of Protectly last night because I know him. We're actually on a first name basis, and asked him. I just said I heard a rumor that you have affiliate links now, and I haven't heard anything back. So it'll be definitely interesting if I know I'm small potatoes in the content creator world. Um, but it's interesting to me that you get, somebody, and I get it from a business standpoint, right? You've got a creator that's got 1.5 million subscribers. Why not create affiliate links, right? So we'll see if they actually offer me affiliate links. Um, we'll see how it's very interesting to me. Um, let's see. Yeah. So Nick, give TP Link a try. It's inexpensive, and I think you'll be pretty surprised. So the Edge Router X gives you full gigabit. You must be running offload and stuff like that. That's interesting that your PF Sense box can't get full gig. From what I understand, the hardware in that thing is a beast. So, all right, make sure you're putting your questions over in the comments. If you haven't been a subscriber for more than one day, you obviously cannot comment. Also, if you're here and you're enjoying the content, make sure you give it a thumbs up. That lets the YouTube algorithm know that you are enjoying the comment. Good morning, Clarence Christensen. Clarence from Wisconsin. Joe says, Joe, I did not put Protectly. I didn't put Protectly on the map. I haven't put any companies on the map. I appreciate that you all think enough of me to think that I would have any bearing on that. But I don't know how many devices they actually sold with my configuration on it. I don't know any of that stuff. And we'll see. I think I need to realign my business strategies a little bit. Yeah, and everybody is tired of Unify. So this customer that I was working with really, really early yesterday morning was like, look, I bought into the Unify ecosystem. I'm an MSP. I wanted this stuff to be easy. I just wanted it to work. And they've had nothing but problems since they bought into the ecosystem and started pushing it to customers. VPNs don't work easily with other companies' products, because other companies have security standards that they follow, and the Unify in the UI can't follow those standards, right? So you have to do these workarounds, to get it going. And so we're talking about like what's it look like if we manage firewalls and things for them. And we've always stayed away from the managed service provider space. It changes your insurance. It changes for us, it would, I would have to get some more subcontractors to make sure that we had appropriate coverage and things like that. And we have dipped our toe into emergency support. Um, if you go to our website and you check out the support page, you'll notice that there's an emergency support contact. And so since we're booked up in the evenings, um, if emergency support usually requires like a 4 to 8 hour turnaround, and it's not something that we typically offer. We have been It's kind of been in beta since the beginning of the year. And it's worked, it hasn't worked, it's we're learning a lot of things. And but for us to become an MSP, um it would have to change, the structure, right? So we're still trying to figure out how to do it with phones, because that would really be kind of our bread and butter. So like if you look at like Unify, I will tell you I have zero interest in managing and maintaining Unify controllers at scale. If you look down in the description, I've got an affiliate link over to Hostify. Riley has uh he has perfected. He managed to do something the manufacturer themselves could not do. He has perfected hosting Unify controllers at scale. Now, I'm not saying it's perfect, because I've got some customers and I've had to have them take some information back to get some things fixed. But I will tell you, Riley has perfected running Unify controllers at scale and managing them. I have no interest in doing that because Hostify does it so well. Just go use Hostify, you know. Um Wow, Unky Joe's PF Sense box is a beast. It's a Dell R210 Mod 2 with Xeon processors, 8 gigs of RAM, and Intel GB NICs. That's crazy. I don't even know where your stumbling block might be with a piece of hardware like that. JH says, ever think of doing a collab with other YouTubers to do an SD-WAN deployment from QNAP? Yeah, we've talked about lots of collaborations. In fact, we're going to put it on the calendar. So you're going to see it here soon. We are going to put the next tech quartet on there, and maybe Joe and Unky Joe and Tony, we should do some sort of a setup like that, whether it's telephone site to site, whether it's VPN site to site. We should definitely come up with something. I think we should add that to the board. Bill Green says Unify routers are a joke. So if you've got a small office and you're not doing anything complicated, they work. I know other YouTubers tell you to just stay away from them completely, but they do work. If you're doing very simple things and you don't have crazy fast internet, they work. So it's funny once you get into this space where I'm at. There's kind of obviously the two closest counterparts to me, their channels have just grown exponentially because they are able to put out, uh, because it's their full-time gig to do the consulting. So they're their own bosses, right? So they've been able to put out, the constant videos and stuff like that. For me, it's a little bit harder. But you can ask them, like, it is it's funny to watch customers go from, they'll start with one of us, they won't like the answer or the rates that they get, they'll move to the next one, to the next one, and they'll try to like pinball off of us and see which one of us is going to which one of us is going to give up our ground and stuff like that. And I don't, and I talk to Tom Lawrence all the time. I'm like, look, I sent this person over to you, or like, look, this person didn't like the rates, said they also watched you. Have at it. And so we talk about that kind of stuff in the background. The other thing that cracks me up is that people that think we should give them consulting for free. Um, you are not you are not entitled to the labor of others at no cost. What do you think that that's actually called? You are not entitled to the labor of others at no cost. I think you should look that up. If that's what you think, look it up. But you are not entitled to the labor of others at no cost. And you don't, you pay us because we know how to do things efficiently. We know how to do it securely. We know how to make sure the system works, right? So yeah, anybody can go buy a UCM. Anybody can go buy this gear and anybody can install it, but is it done correctly? Is it done securely? That's something you don't know. You it would we remediate so many broken phone systems because people put them like out on the internet, and I mean, it's crazy. Um let's see. Brent says I do host my business Unify and Hostify. Yeah. Jerry, greetings from Mexico. Gabriel says I was only using only using Cisco switches, and I decided to try Unify, but I am starting to buy some equipment. But even to adopt a device is a little problematic. Yeah, it's getting a little. So they're moving things. If you haven't noticed, they're moving things from the old interface to the new interface only. So I find myself switching back and forth frequently to find things. Let's see. You know what? And I I was in a meeting the other day about a web-based point of sale system, and introduced myself as the IT person or whatever, and the contact from the point of sale company goes, "Oh, you're the guy that's going to mess with the firewalls." And I said, "Well, I really don't know what a firewall is, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night." So two people on the call thought that was funny, and the person who was essentially my boss, I don't think found that too funny. Um, let's see. PF Bill Green says PF or OpenSense is my go-to. They work no matter what, and VPN is easy on them. So yeah, OpenSense is my go-to. Tim, a long time ago, I did a live stream with Lawrence Systems, and if Tom and I have talked about some level of collaboration. So I've got some things going on personally that I have to deal with before I can really make any type of big business changes or any type of changes. I've got to take care of my family first. And it's not like my family's not falling apart. Don't like worry about that. But um, we just have to make sure that everybody's healthy. And so We've talked about some collaboration at scale. I'm not sure what'll come of that, but if Tom wanted to do a live stream, if he wanted to drive the Tesla down here, or if I needed to just get a wild hair and drive up there, yeah, we could do that. Let's see. Oh, Joe with cajoling tech hit the magic word on the head. If you think you're entitled to the labor of others at no charge, look at the cajoling tech. Yeah, that's something we have as humans have been fighting against. Well, most of us. Good morning, Mike. Oh, Barry, I appreciate that. Yeah, we cut Barry's client a very special deal because Barry and I have known each other a couple of years, met through uh, IT business group um, on Facebook. I don't know if you remember Barry, but we were on our way to Nashville for vacation the first time you and I talked on the phone a few years ago. But yeah, we took care of the printing company. It was the company that did my polo shirts. Unky Joe is having a heck of a time with Spectrum. Yeah, so those cable companies, they've got a lot of control over that stuff. By the way, if you're here, 64 of you, 32 thumbs up, hit that thumbs up. I know I sound like a broken record, but it really does help the algorithm. Um, Sylvain says I removed a USG 4 and put back an old RV042 because of poor IPsec performance. We usually notice pretty good IPsec performance on the edge routers, depending on the model. But OpenVPN, people want OpenVPN on the edge router, and the performance of OpenVPN on any of the Ubiquiti devices um, it's not great. Brent says, I just bought my first UDM Pro. I don't know how it will play out, but I like it so far. It's for personal use, so it should be good. And I don't mind troubleshooting to get to know new hardware software. So the thing is with the UDM Pro is if you start running into some weird issues and you need to troubleshoot it from the command line, it becomes much more difficult. And JH says Nokia is coming out with new access switches. Man, and Nokia I think has been in the networking game for quite a while, but if they're coming out with um, you know, if they're coming out with access switches, it'll be interesting to see. Unky Joe says, "What's better, OpenVPN or WireGuard?" I think that's going to depend on your use case. Um, we do a ton of OpenVPN client VPNs. Haven't done the only WireGuard client VPN that I've been um, involved in is this Lotto company. So Nokia is doing lots of things behind the scenes. So Brent says, I also got the Netgate 6100 for my lab. Excited about this one. Yeah, so if you don't know why I don't really push the Netgate hardware too much, it's because I did a video using Protectly and I installed PFSense on it. And after I published it, the CEO of Netgate came on my Twitter and started shit posting, and he was wrong about everything he was posting. He went back. He later removed the posts. But between behavior like that, between the elitism that seems to run rampant in the PF Sense community, I stay away from it and I really stick with OpenSense. OpenSense's community uh, doesn't look down on beginners or people wanting to run OpenSense on whatever hardware. It's just a couple of those experiences like that, and you're done. Sean asks, "What do you think of Arachnus?" So I've seen Arachnus around. I have not had a chance to use Arachnus, so I don't have any opinion. I keep seeing it keeps. I started seeing it a couple of years ago, and it's like starting to build some steam. So Sylvain says, "For the main router, I think MikroTik are the best. MikroTik makes a good product." And OpenVPN is slow on the edge router. Yes, it is because it's all software driven. Their IPsec is faster because they have hardware offload for that. I probably wouldn't use OpenVPN. I would just do an L2TP IPsec on the edge router, and you're going to be fine. You'll have plenty of speed to watch your CCTVs. Miss Call says, is there an issue with the Cloud Key Gen 2 Plus? I have two Gen 1 Cloud Keys running one side each for years with no problems. I have the Gen 2 managing 6. It randomly. Now, are you talking about it loading locally, or are you talking about it loading through the UI cloud? Because the UI cloud has been on the struggle bus the last couple weeks. What rack mountable battery backups do you recommend? We like Trip Light, and it's going to depend on how big of a, we see them anywhere from 900. Now, the most common ones we install will be 900 to 1500 VA. Joe from Cajoling, I think I've heard you talk about Speedify, the software-based cellular bonding, but I haven't used it. And the thing is, like, when you actually get into like bonding, when you get into bonding, when you get into bonding network connections, you do have to have special software and things like that to do it. So, like a PepLink or a Mushroom Networks uses a service. And it's my understanding, and this could be totally incorrect, but it's my understanding that like the PepLink uses a VPN. They create a VPN using all of your connections, and it terminates out on AWS. And then that's how they somehow combine those to make that work. So Luxel is, in my opinion, um, Luxel, we have torn out a ton of Luxel. And where we run into Luxel is with AV integrators, right? So we have a lot of AV integrators that call us for help. When I say a lot, you got to realize that I don't have tens of thousands of customers. I do have thousands of customers, or have had thousands of customers. So when I say a lot of, I've probably got 2 to 3 dozen AV folks that I work with, and a lot of them install Luxel, and we pull out a lot of Luxel. I'd like to have. I actually did a walkthrough at a hotel, and they had Luxel, and I wondered how it ended up there. But I would actually like to have a Luxel switch for the lab. Nick says, "Have you ever had a candid conversation with Unify on their buggy code?" Um, no. I post in the forums. I post in the videos. They don't care. You got to understand, they don't care what I think. They've got people like Network Chuck, like Linus Tech Tips, that are pushing their products, right? So they really don't care about what Willie Howe has to say. Unless I say something that does not show them in a positive light, then they're quick to email me to let me know that I could have reached out to them before I published a video. So they've kind of kicked me out of the cool kids club. And it is very frustrating because you have all these people who've bought into the ecosystem and then are having problems, very frustrating problems, and you can't get them fixed. I mean, for crying out loud, if you turn on the new this new user interface thing that I posted the other day, this thing has been a bug for over a year and it's not fixed. But we released our phones, we released door access control, we released this UID, but we've still got these bugs, and we've still got real features. You still can't control the NAT. You still have no fine grained NAT control in Unify. Why not? You know what I mean? Like, they could tweak just a few things and just completely, literally shut everybody else out, and they're not doing it. And in the beginning, Ubiquiti created this huge. The community used to be so strong. They had this tribe. Um, and I'm still a cheerleader for certain parts of the company. But they had a lot of us who were super passionate about their products, and they have essentially, in my opinion, turned their back on the tribe. And I don't know what's going to happen. They don't tell me anything. Uh, RL Woodleaf says, I used Untangle for years before moving to Unify. After seeing the security concerns, I'm now happily back on Untangle with GrandStream APs. Thanks for all you do, Will. Yeah, that's a great combination. Hey, Chad, good morning. Yeah, that's a 9,000 VA APC. That's a big box. JH says, I do QSys for AV mostly because I'm one of the only certified for it in my area. Interesting. Bob Carpenter says, pay attention to the shiny. Don't look in the dark corners. Yeah, it drives me nuts that they don't fix the problems. They just try and create new ones. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so, people are always like, why are you so down on them? I'm like, I'm not down on them. But they have legitimate problems, legitimate issues. And when you don't fix these bugs, ever since the 6 dot whatever firmware came out, they are ignoring the fact that the import site is missing. They're ignoring it. Riley is, he's got to be half glass full in his business market. And he says it's a bug. He thinks it's a bug. It's not a bug. They removed the import site on purpose. And then this new thing, now they've got the IT marketplace. If you've looked at the store, and they've got this server in there that they're selling. I don't know what they're doing. It feels like a cash grab. It really does. It just feels like a cash grab. Let's see. Yeah, that's the thing. We are pulling out a ton of the Unify stuff and replacing it with, you can ask anybody who's ever pulled out Unify APs and stuck in GrandStream APs. Their Wi-Fi is faster. It's less buggy. They never have to touch the gear unless they're upgrading the firmware. It's crazy. So, and Sylvain hit the nail on the head here. He says, I installed about 1,000 Unify AP and hundreds of switches. I'm thinking of moving away, but the problem is telling your client that you sold them product with poor customer relation. And that's the thing. And Unify, Ubiquiti doesn't care. Look at their stock price. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just keeps going up, and the CEO keeps buying more of the stock back. How much longer till they're private? Are they looking for an acquisition? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. They keep all that stuff really close to the vest. So GrandStream customer support, if you're a reseller, if you sign up as an official reseller, you do get support tickets answered more quickly than if you're an end user, because they want to support their resellers. They're not screwing their resellers by selling direct and offering a different warranty. They want to support that model. So if you're going to start deploying it, make sure you sign up as a reseller. End users get frustrated because it can take days to get a response back but you're not a reseller. They want you to work with your resellers. Thanks, TCP/IP Solutions. Have a great day. Oh, Unky Joe may have found his problem. Looks like there is an issue with AT&T BGW 320 and Intel NICs. That'll do it every time. Bob Carpenter says, how long were people screaming for multi-WAN support on the? So the multi-WAN support still doesn't work properly, and the multi-WAN IP stuff is more complicated than it should be. Yeah, we run OpenSense a lot on servers. And Joe from Cajoling says, it seems to me Unify wants to focus on consumer tech enthusiasts, not real IT people with real workloads to support. But the problem with that is, because the gear is so inexpensive, it finds its way into those environments. And then it's too late to tell the customer, oh, crap, I installed this thing and it doesn't do what we want. So Dbot says, I'm starting to research a new phone system to replace Mitel. So if you didn't know, I don't necessarily suggest this. I know one place that is going to do this because they're they're an Office 365 team shop, but you can actually either use Telnex and put your SIP trunks into Teams and then use GrandStream phones, the handsets, are certified to work with Microsoft Teams, and you can actually run your phone system out of Teams. But good Lord, I feel like you're setting yourself up for trouble there, but I'm sure people love it. Let's see. Ressi says GrandStream is faster, less buggy, and in most cases, you get substantially more coverage off of one GrandStream AP. Yes. JH says, I love to see UBNT being sold to a firewall company, so the firewall company can have switching and Wi-Fi really quick and replace. Yeah, but the problem is that Unify, they should rewrite the Unify controller, put it on MySQL or PostgreSQL. UISP runs on PostgreSQL. And rewrite it so it doesn't run in Java. They need to make some changes, and it's that unify abstraction layer, or that not abstraction layer. That was the totally wrong word. That unify software layer that sits on there that makes everything so slow. Cordell, good morning. If you needed to replace Unify switches from a production, what would be your first choice? Well, before I can answer that, I'd have to know what your actual requirements for the switches are, like what's your environment look like. Yes, Matt, we have done small Aruba instant on switch and AP deployments, and they are decent. My problem with them is that it is only cloud hosted, and I want to be able to host things other places than the cloud. You're starting to see a hybrid approach to the cloud, which we've talked about for years is probably the future. Um, so we'll see. Bob Carpenter says, don't they already have the consumer stuff um, like the Alien line and the other mesh stuff? Yeah. So they do. And the reason that I don't run Alien Amplify is the line you're thinking of, Bob. But Alien is the big Wi-Fi 6 AP, and I actually took my kit that I had and I'm letting somebody else borrow it who's got gig internet, and let them test it. But the problem with the Amplify line is, unless it's been fixed, so somebody tell me if this has been fixed. But if your internet goes down, Amplify stops broadcasting and your wireless goes down. That's worthless. Just because your internet goes down doesn't mean you don't need access to other network resources. If you're running a home automation and you've got your stuff on site with like a home seer or a home whatever, and your internet goes down, you still want to be able to control your devices, but you can't because Amplify stops broadcasting. So I can't support it anymore unless they fix that. Man, you all are blowing up the comments here. Let me scroll back up. Unky Joe says, I quit using Ubiquiti for clients a while back. The lack of multi-WAN IP was a deal killer for me. Yeah. Yep. JH says, they're nice, but I try to stay away from free cloud controllers because at some point it will be a paid service. Maybe. But I've got this TP-Link Omada OC300. I'm going to do a full stack video this weekend, get it published. So you'll see that. Brent S says, we use Teams and Microsoft 365 Azure for our entire cloud solution. I wonder what your bill is. Could you tell everybody how much it costs you? That's the thing. People think they're going to like the cloud, then they get the bill. And then also, CEOs are spun this yarn about being able to reduce IT workforce when in fact, that is nothing further from the truth. Sometimes you need more people and you still have to back up your data. Unky Joe says, I will be going with TP Link or Netgear from this. Netgear makes awesome switches. Their layer 3, their M4300 series is fantastic. Juan says, what would be good morning? What would be a better replacement for Unify APs? Grandstream, Cisco, name a vendor. Brent says, so I assume everyone moving to Teams and Zoom, Microsoft wasn't ready for the huge migration. Yeah, that I don't know. Yeah, they're running Suricata. The Unify IDS IPS is Suricata. And it works. It does work. JH says, I've had really good luck replacing Unify switches with AdTran 1500. Yeah, you keep bringing up AdTran, and I like the look of them. I need to get my hands on one, even if I don't know. Are they holding quite a bit of their value on eBay, JH? JC says, replace it with the Catalyst 1000 series. I did and never looked back. Mac Telecom Network says that it is fixed. Good morning, Cody. So they finally fixed the firmware on Amplify so that if your internet goes down, your Wi-Fi stays up. It should have never gone down in the first place. Unky Joe, how many users is that for $4,000 a year? Because I just did a quote for a government agency with 200 and some mailboxes, like $108,000 a year for the full suite. And that's with the compliance stuff and things like that. Ryan says, I think I'll switch to Omaha when they come out with something similar to a Dream Machine Pro. Well, I don't know who Omaha is, Ryan, but good morning. I know you meant Omada. I just had to give you a hard time since you're a local. JH says, I see people moving to the cloud, and once their onboarding credits run out, they end up going to a hybrid. Yes. And Joe with Cajoling Tech, if you were not here for the first minute of the live stream, we did do a moment of silence. And yes, do not turn this political. You will get banned. But yes, 9/11, never forget. Ralph says, who makes a fanless PoE switch with more than 10 ports, replacing a Ubiquiti? And why does it have to be fanless? Is that a requirement of the customer? Could you not replace the fans with quiet fans? After Dark 230, one of my favorite usernames in the house. I got to give it some flying toasters. QNAP makes a decent switch. Yes, Joe, if you go back, we had a moment of silence at the beginning. So, good morning. All right. So, we've been at this almost an hour, which is about 26 minutes longer than we normally stream. I've got to get going, do some things. Yes, if you go back, we did a moment of silence for those who gave all on 9/11 20 years ago. Some of you may not even have been born then, but it was definitely a turning point in the history of the United States. So, all right, we are going to get back to it. I hope you all have a great day. And as always, you can reach out at williehow.com. And as always, I will see all of you in the next video. Have a great weekend.